Well, good morning. Welcome to my corner of the multiverse. This is your Hump Day Guilty Pleasure, the Salty Goddess podcast. I'm Margaret. Be sure to follow, download, share, and subscribe. And trust me, 2026 is going to be a whole new venture for all of us. Let's get on this journey and figure out how we are not going to replay 2025. We've talked and talked, my friends, about change, growth, making a difference, doing something different, not repeating and expecting different results. We know that that is the definition of insanity. So to be able to grow and to be able to be better than we were last year, that means we have to really take a look at ourselves and see why we keep doing the same things over and over again and never really implementing the change that we desperately need. You know, I didn't expect this podcast to just consistently call out all of the crappy things that we're seeing out there in the multiverse. You know, this is my little corner over here. I'm over here minding my own business, doing my thing, but I keep running into individuals that fail to see that they have failed at growth. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Do you believe that you can be better than you were the day before? Now, if you don't think that there's any reason for growth or there isn't a need for it, that you're as grown as you need to be, this isn't for you and you're a Neanderthal. It's that simple. Because I promise you, even those of us that have been on a growth journey, we know that each day we can be better than we were the day before. You can do good, and be better. All right? Or as somebody close to our family says, do gooder. Do gooder, everybody. Do gooder. Now, you have to assess why you aren't seeing the growth that you talk about, that you acknowledge that needs to take place. You acknowledge that the people around you know what they're talking about, but then you keep sliding back into those same behaviors, that same place of zero growth. Why? Why is this happening? Well, your self-image is outdated. Your self-image, you keep trying to manifest a new life. You rehearse that new identity in your head. But you end up coming back to that same identity, those same standards, those same tolerances, okay? Your results will never outgrow the version of you that keeps showing up. Your upgrade begins when you stop asking, what should I do? And start asking yourself, who is it that I want to become? It's not what someone else wants you to become, but it's what you want to become. All right? Often we see resistance. We see individuals who are like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly fine. It's difficult for individuals sometimes to realize or to rationalize that change should take place. Because in doing so, they believe it makes their entire past, their entire foundation, inaccurate or erroneous or bad even. Okay? So I want to take you through life in general, okay? And talk about things that you've learned that helped you grow as time goes on. You learned to drive a car. Maybe you learned to drive a standard eventually. Okay, just because A standard is different than an automatic, or a motorcycle is different than a car. It doesn't mean that simply because you've driven an automatic your entire life that was bad. You're adding a new skill. You are improving your toolbox. That's all that is. And throughout our entire lives, that's what we do. From the moment that we are born until the day in which we die, we should be learning new things, growing, adding to our toolbox. It does not make any of the other tools that you have bad tools. You just add to them. There was a time when we had just, a regular everyday saw. Then we got chainsaws. We have circular saws. We have miter saws and compound miter saws. We have tile saws. You get the idea? No one saw is necessarily better than another, maybe better for a specific job. And knowing how to use them just means that you're able to do more things. It doesn't mean that the saw that you grew up on or the miter box that you used when you were 17 is a piece of shit. It just means you learned on a different tool. And that's okay. You get what I'm saying? No one is trying to strip you of your experiences or your life or who you are. No one is saying that all that you are is a bad thing. What we're saying is that as we learn and as we grow and as we age and as we have more and more experiences, we are adding to ourselves. We're adding another dimension of ourselves. And I liken it to people who often will talk to me about, oh, well, in my biology book from when I was in high school, it said XYZ. Great. How old are you? You're like 50 now, right? So the textbook from high school, you read it 35 years ago, which means it's probably closer to 45 years old by the time it actually made it into your classroom. Do you think that knowledge of the human species has changed in 45 years? It has. Does it mean that all of the knowledge we had prior is bad, is evil, is, worthless? No, it's not. So I want you to start framing your mind that way. All right. If you grew up and you're still hanging out with exactly the same people and you've never expanded your horizons, what you know is your small, intimate world. There's a lot more out there. This planet's pretty freaking big. Lots of people on it. Lots of different lived experiences. So understanding that our lived experience is not the same as everyone else's. Now, a little bit of a story for you. I ran into a student this past week, well, last week actually, because, today's this week. But anyway, and I was listening to music in the office that I was sitting in, and this young man asked me, well, who's that? And I said, well, that's a little bit of some 5-Finger Death Punch. And he goes, who? I said, 5-Finger Death Punch. Never heard of them? Look them up. There's a lot more music out there in the world than just, pop, hip hop, rap, metal, classical music, jazz. There's all different kinds. And you want to know what? Listening to all different types of music gives you a pretty well-rounded, experience with music. And you can learn to really like a lot of different things. I will tell you that music is mathematics. The universe, the multiverse, it's all about mathematics. So I try to tell people to listen to a lot of different stuff. And it might not be, your double shot of whiskey. And I get that. It might not be. But you can't say you don't like it if you haven't tried it. Right? Right. You might be amazed. I told this young man the absolute best rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner till the end of days will be Whitney Houston's rendition. I'm going to tell you right now, to this day still gives me gooseflesh. All right, she had an amazing voice. A lot of individuals out there have amazing voices. There's a lot of amazing music. When I was growing up, though, you weren't cool if you didn't like hair band music, 80s music, pop. All right? Get out there and try different things so that you can actually assess whether or not you like them. If all you ever do is follow the crowd and listen to what everybody else says, is it really your opinion? Or did someone else give you that opinion? I don't know about you, but I do what I want. I don't follow the crowd, and nobody gives me my opinions. I come by them on my own, and I come by them honestly. All right? So, think about that for a minute. Don't let anyone else give you your opinion of something or of someone. You'll know what I'm talking about. All right? Just think about that for just a moment. Don't let anyone else give you your opinion. I mean, unless we're talking about Fords. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, Fords are crap. All right? Anything but a Ford, please. All right. So that's one reason why. Okay? You haven't made the commitment to improving, changing, and growing. Another reason? Well, and this isn't such a bad reason. I'm not going to lie to you. Comfort. You're more committed to your comfort than you are to your freedom. All right? Comfort is sneaky. It looks like rest, but it's really and truly avoidance. Avoiding discomfort is avoiding growth. The life that you want requires expansion. And expansion always feels like pressure, especially at first. And if you only move when it's comfortable, you're never going to move at all. And you'll only move in those same circles you've always moved in. I never started this by saying it would be easy. But some of the best things come from hard work. And it's not bullshit. It's the truth. It's the truth. So just know that. If you only move when it's easy, you'll only live in the familiar. Growth isn't familiar. It's learning new things. It's understanding more of the universe, of the multiverse, of the planet, of others. Being willing to accept that human beings are often extremely lazy. Can't help it. And if you thought humans weren't lazy, open your eyes and look around. Okay? All of the technology that we have is so that our lives are easier. Vehicles, even just the invention of the wheel. Okay? Think about all the things human beings can do once the wheel was invented. And I also want you to look back at that as well and go, hold up a second though. There was a time when there were no wheels, but humans invented them. There was a time when there wasn't a wagon, when there wasn't a plow, when there wasn't public water. All of those things required growth and understanding of their environment and of their needs. Think about that throughout the history of the human species. All we have ever done is to continue to grow in our knowledge and our understanding of how this world works. Think about that. So if the entire species could do these things, why can't you? Why can't you? You can. You just have to be willing to put in the effort. And if the people around you matter to you, that effort isn't so hard. It's not hard. Growing and understanding and building your knowledge can be easy if you're willing to accept it. All right, so that's reason number 2, okay? Why we often don't grow the way we want. The third reason why, because we often wait for motivation to spur us on instead of building structure. Motivation is emotional, and your structure, that's internal. That's from within yourself. If your progress depends on mood, your life will be unstable. Those of us that win aren't more hyped. We're disciplined. Systems beat emotion every single time. So build the discipline, build the structure. Okay? If you have an issue with time suck, you have tools in your hand that can assist you. You know that you lose time when you're scrolling on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or scrolling through Amazon just for looking for shit to buy. Okay? Set a timer on your phone. You have a timer. I do it when I'm filling the pool. I'll get so involved in something I'm working on, I'll forget I have the hose on, filling up the pool. So I set a timer that goes off every 15 minutes. I walk out, I check the pool water. I come back, I reset the timer. It's not that hard, y'all. Do you cook? You got a timer on your microwave? The microwave beeps, it turns off. Friends, you can do the same thing. It's all about discipline and structure. You can make it out every Thursday night for drinks with your friends after work. That's a structure. That's a discipline. You get up every day to go to work. That's discipline. So I know you have it in you to build the structure that's needed for growth. So I don't want to hear how difficult it is, because it's really not that difficult if you are invested. If you are invested. So if you're waiting for motivation, my suggestion to you is get your ass over there and turn on some Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. Because just like Courtney's man said, that's right, that song will get you going every single time. Every time. So get to it. You want to lay down excuses? You know what you can do? Just tell the truth. I'm not interested in growth. I don't want to put the work in. Just be honest about it. Don't say, yeah, you're right. I should do that. You're right. And then don't do it. Because what is that? That's performative. When your words, they're coming out your mouth, but your actions don't line up with the word. So if you want to keep repeating 2025, well, just keep doing the same old shit, I guess. Don't apply the discipline that you have when you work out 5 days a week. Okay? Don't bother. Explain to others around you, the people that would like to see you grow. Explain to them that their needs, their desires, their hopes for the future of whatever this relationship is isn't nearly as important as Thursday nights out for drinks with your friends or working out 5 times a week or whatever. Just go ahead and say it. Just say it like it is. Stop bullshitting people. Nobody wants to hear the bullshit. But just come to the table and say what's really on your mind. You're so grown you don't want to grow. Just fucking say so. And let other people decide whether or not they want to hang out. Because maybe they don't. Right? And honestly, if you can't tell the truth about how you feel, in other words, I'm not interested in the least bit and doing anything different. I like being, whatever those things are that you are. I'm not going to say the words, But if you don't believe that you need to grow, just tell them, yeah, I'm not going to change. I'm not interested in changing. I like myself the same way I am right here, right now. I don't mind that I'm a Neanderthal or that I'm a mental midget. Okay? Just tell the truth. You don't think that now that you're, whatever age you are, that you need to change anything about the way you do things. And then let them decide whether or not hanging out with you is what they really want. It might mean the end of a friendship. It might mean the end of a very long friendship or an even more intimate relationship. It might be the end of family, congruity. I don't know. But tell them the truth. Don't lie to their faces because they know you're lying. The minute your words don't line up with your actions, friction will begin. Okay? So you have a couple choices. Either grow or don't, but be honest about it. And be honest about the effort you're willing to put in. Other individuals around you, they put the effort in. You'll hear it in the Marine Corps. They'll tell you in the service, if you join the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, they will tell you, drill instructors will tell you, we have to break them down to rebuild them. But when we rebuild them better, bigger. Okay? They have the tools to build you bigger and better and to be able to work as a team. There's something to be said for that. They're not coming in. I've never heard a drill instructor say, I'm here to break them down because everything that they knew before is crap. They don't say that. It's just different. Okay? Some people grew up eating hot dogs. Some people grew up eating steak. It's different. That's it. Some of us went to charms class. Some of us did not. Some of us can walk in high heels. Some of us cannot. Some of us, can do all kinds of different things. Each of us have taken a different path. But at the end of the day, if you are hanging on to that past because you think that moving forward into your future and growing and building means that your past is shit, that's dumb. Nobody's saying that. It's just different. Okay? It's just different. I love old houses and hardwood floors that creak. I like tin ceilings. I like stained glass windows. I like big wraparound front porches. And I like old lady flowers like magnolias, lilacs, hydrangeas. Okay? And roses and shit like that. Okay? Does that make, what does that make me? Is that bad? No. It's not bad. It's just different. Some people prefer calla lilies and roses and forget-me-nots. It all depends. So no one is saying that anything about you was bad. But we're saying, now that you're older, now that you're growing, there's other growth you need to undertake. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So, another reason why you may not be ready for this growth journey is because you're able to consume the inspiration. Like you internalize some of that inspiration, but you never convert it into actual action. Okay? Certain types of content can make you feel like you're progressing when you're just entertained. Believe it or not, you learn all day and then go live or go live the same patterns at night. Wisdom isn't what you know, but it's what you do consistently. And if it doesn't change your behavior, it's not ingrained knowledge. It's just noise. Okay? There was a time when you did not know that 1 + 1 was 2, or 8 divided by 4 was 2. But you learned it, didn't you? What in the world made you think that learning stops simply because you're not sitting in a classroom? Your environment is your classroom. Your life is your classroom. Your interactions with others are your classroom. And that is where more growth and more knowledge acquisition takes place. If you believe that you know everything that you need to know, and you're like 30, 40, or even, honestly, even 50, I've learned a lot in the last 10 years. What else is there left to do? I'm so damn curious. I want to know all the things. Well, then that's also just me. All right. So those are some of the things, my friends, that make us stagnant. So I've given you 4 things that you can work on over the course of the next week. And I want to tell you something. As a consultant, I've come into different businesses and different offices, and I've been asked to assess why certain processes aren't happening, or I'm asked to figure out if there's a better process for completing a project. Okay. And I sit back and I observe, I watch, and I try to see who sits back and asks certain questions in a certain way and how others respond and so on and so forth. So, you're kind of sitting there and trying to figure it out. And I have to tell you that I often see the same person, different face, different name, different office, every single project I work on. When the big boss says, I'm having issues getting to this project underway, I'm having issues with the daily flow of XYZ, processes or tasks, I run into the same thing. It's almost always, well, this is how we've always done it. Or, all you young people think you know so much better than me. Or there's always somebody who's maybe got the highest degree in the room who thinks that they know all there is to know. But they don't ever look inward and say, maybe I'm not as patient as I could be. Maybe I'm not as open to someone else's point of view, someone else's way of doing this, or maybe I think my way is the only way. And we have to start breaking those molds. We have to start showing individuals it is okay that someone else in the room has a different idea or a different way of doing it, or thinking about it, or coming at a problem in a different way, versus just saying that can't be done simply because you haven't figured out a way. So I tell you this because it's not just work. I see it in personal relationships too. As you know, I have a private practice and I listen to my patients frequently, sometimes longer than they, have expected that I would stand and listen. But it's true. I see the same things over and over again. I've learned so many things just in the last, honest to God, like 10 years. And I've learned from some of the most interesting people, not even people with the highest degree, the highest income bracket, the person with the biggest bank account. But I've learned to listen. And I will tell you, and I've said this before, I am at this point in my journey, but understand me when I tell you, I was at your point at one time. I thought I had done all the learning I needed to do other than book learning. I thought my lived experience was everyone's lived experience for the most part, growing up and things like that. But I promise you, it wasn't. So I ask you, one of the first steps you can take this week, be open. Do not get to the end of the conversation. Listen. And really, truly participate. You might be really surprised at what you learn. All right. So, by all means, please, somebody get a hold of me. Let me know. What are you going to undertake this week to see if you can overcome one of those first four pain points that you may have so that you can start your growth journey? We'll get back together again next week for your Hump Day Guilty Pleasure in my corner of the multiverse. Thank you for listening. This is the Salty Goddess Podcast. I'm Margaret. Please follow, share, subscribe, download, and follow us on all of our social media platforms because you know we're out there. All right? And let everybody know that we're here. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks for joining me.